Welcome back, folks, to the WP-Tonic show. This is episode 440. Our supposed guest, unfortunately, for personal reasons, couldn't attend. So you've just got us viewers, me and my knowledgeable and great co-host, Adrian.
Hi, everyone. Adrian here.
For GroundHogg. We're rustled up some interesting topics. We're going to be discussing some of the major problems in marketing automation that Adrian sees on a regular basis. Then we're going to, in the second half, we're going to be talking about some of the major changes that GroundHogg itself has recently announced. Adrian's going to give us all the dirt on those changes. And then in our bonus content, we're going to be talking about how to handle proposals and other business subjects. So it should be a great show. Adrian, would you like to quickly introduce yourself to the new listeners and viewers?
Absolutely. Hi, everyone. My name is Adrian. If you don't know me, I am the CEO and founder of GroundHogg. We produce and create amazing marketing automation and sales plugins for businesses that use WordPress. And because I come from that background of marketing automation, email marketing, page creation, digital marketing, what have you, I have seen throughout my tenure of like 7 years in this field of seeing time and time again businesses making the same mistakes when it comes to marketing automation and wasting tons of time, wasting tons of money, and then inevitably never being able to reach their goal because they do these things over and over and over again. And I'm here to share with you some 3 things that you can do in order to avoid those pitfalls. But before we get into that,
yes, I want to talk about our great sponsor, which is Kinsta Hosting. And I've got great news. Kinsta's just improved their service. They've made it 200 times quicker, their average hosting speed. They've got some fantastic new technology, which they've been working with Google with. And they've just released a press release and spread the good news that almost all their hosting now is considerably faster, and it was some of the fastest hosting on the market as it was. So that's fantastic news. So what is Kinsta? Well, they only specialize in hosting WordPress websites. That's what they do day in, day out. You get a back end based on Google technology, but you also get a great UX design, one of the best in the market, in my opinion. And the main thing is you get superb 24/7 support, some of the best on the market at the present moment. We've been hosting the WP-Tonic website for over 2 years with Kinsta. It's been totally, I could not go back to some of the other hosting I used to use for my own sites. After you tried something like Kinsta, it's extremely difficult to go back to, in my opinion, very inferior hosting providers. So if that sounds interesting, go over to Kinsta for yourself or for your clients. Go over to kinsta.com, have a look at their packages. I would suggest you should sign up, and also tell them that you heard about them on the WP-Tonic podcast. Adrian, let's start. What are some of the basic mistakes that you see people making on a regular basis when it comes to marketing automation?
so there's 3 big ones, and I actually took those 3 big ones and I created something called the 3 principles of automation. I'm not the first person, by the way, to come up with this top concept. You'll find it on our website, but you'll find it on other websites as well. But essentially, there are 3 big areas, and I'm going to take a section directly out of our certified partner training, which we give to like the people who say, hey, listen, I want to do implementation for GroundHogg for my clients or their agencies or whatever. We train this for all of our certified partners so they know and understand what these pitfalls are so they don't pass them on to their clients inadvertently. But here are the 3 principles of automation, and from those we'll be able to extract basically what people do wrong time and time and time again. The first one is we simply just call it keep it simple, stupid. Everybody has heard keep it simple, stupid in their lives before. It's the KISS principle. Essentially, when we go in and we get so excited about marketing automation, it's easy to want to do a whole bunch of cool things because you see, Ryan Dice or Russell Brunson or like these super big marketer types with big teams, creating awesome automation that basically runs their businesses on autopilot, or with the promise of being able to run your business on autopilot. And then you go out and you spend $300 a month for Infusionsoft, Campaign, HubSpot, Marketo, whatever it is that you choose. And you say, now I have all of this power and functionality. I'll be able to design this awesome set of funnels or campaigns or what have you, and automate my business. What becomes quickly apparent is that one single person, with a very limited credit card budget over the course of a year, will be unable to create that promise or that level of expectation that they had going into it. So I don't know if anyone's ever gone to, for example, like Google Images and typed in Infusionsoft campaign. What you're going to see is a bunch of items all around a canvas with a bunch of lines going in between, and you're looking at it and you're like, I have no idea what that means. I don't know what's happening. I don't know what the intention is. I don't know where people start. I don't know where people end. And it's very, 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 very complicated. And if you overcomplicate it, you essentially overwhelm yourself with the amount of functionality that you've built. And if you don't know what's happening, it's essentially comes down to this. If you don't know what's happening within your own business or your own automation, or your own funnels, the customer doesn't know what's happening either. If you can't point to point A and point B and say, you need to go from here to here, because you've designed such a complex process with edge cases and whatnot, then the customer cannot take point A and point B and then go through that process, because you've implemented so many barriers from them to actually completing whatever transaction it is which you wanted in the first place. So keep it simple is principle number one. You got a web form on a page, you send them an email, the email goes to a checkout page, and that's marketing automation for you. Like that is like that's pretty low level, and you can do cooler stuff than that. But as soon as you start getting into like, I want it to connect to X software to B software, and what if people answer option A, I want to send them a different series of emails, or option B. Oftentimes, the most simple solution is often the most effective solution. Yes, there are people, it's not one size fits all, so some people may not want to conform to that process, but that's fine. That's what live chat is for, or email is for. You can just communicate with that person instead, because a lot of times people want to be able to communicate with somebody instead of just communicate with the automation. Which brings me to principle of automation number 2. Not everything needs to or should be automated. Whenever someone gets marketing automation, they get Infusionsoft and HubSpot, they say, great, now I'll be able to automate my human resources, my high-ticket sales, I'll be able to automate my live chat, I'll be able to automate customer support, I'll be able to go off and automate all of these things so I can, work from a beach in Florida somewhere. Incorrect. Or at least it's extremely difficult to do that. Because human resources, customer chat, live chat, high-ticket sales process, all of those things, the customer has a certain level of expectation that they're going to be talking to a real person. They want to be able to communicate with someone behind on the other side of the computer and get a genuine response from someone with flesh and a beating heart, hopefully. But there are certain things that can be and should be automated that will be able to save you time and money. Lead generation, a long-term follow-up series, cart abandonment, a simple autoresponder, review requests. If someone buys something, you can automatically send them a review request. You don't have to do that manually. And it's a super low-level thing that you can automate that will save you time. A lot of reporting can also be automated, so you can get your report in your inbox and say, I made X revenue this month. So those low-level, repeatable tasks that don't have a lot of variation in them can be automated relatively easily. However, human resources, customer support, live chat, those things have something in them that is continuously variable, and that is a person. A person with a specific question that you cannot always, every single time, account for. So you end up building these super massive funnels or campaigns or whatever to essentially accommodate all the possible different moods, questions that a person might be in or have, and it just costs way too much time and way too much money, and you end up never actually creating a solution that's functional, because it's not a one-size-fits-all. It's way easier to take the 3 minutes out of your day to hop on live chat, answer somebody's question, or hop on support, answer somebody's question, or send out an email to someone who wants to give you $10,000 and be like, hey, do you want to give me $10,000? Or do you want me to implement your site? Or do you want to accept this quote, instead of letting automation take care of it? Because the automation won't, because they have a level of expectation to talk to a real person. So those are the first two. And it looks like we have 3 minutes left to talk about number 3. And this is by far the biggest one. Keep the focus on your deliverables. We get so excited about marketing automation and email marketing that we lose sight of whatever it is that we actually want to sell in the first place. At the end of the day, a business is supposed to create two things: value for customers and value for shareholders. Marketing automation does neither of those things. Marketing automation enables value for customers and enables values for shareholders, but does not create it. Products and selling products creates that value. When we get marketing automation, we say, hey, listen, if I send this super cool email, the contact or the person or the customer will think it's really cool that they got that email, and that'll make them want to buy. Wrong. You need to keep the focus on whatever it is that is actually making revenue for your business, the focus of your marketing automation. We can't lose sight. It's something that I see so often. Business gets a new tool. They say this new tool is super cool. They spend 3 months developing and building systems processes in this new tool, trying to sell their product, end up not selling their product, move to a new tool, do the same thing over and over and over again. Right? And this happens because there is a level of expectation from the business. It's not a valid expectation, but there's an expectation that the tool is going to sell their product for them. That's not necessarily true. Experience, marketing experience, email marketing experience will help you sell that product, but the product needs to have a certain, you need to put a certain amount of effort into that product in order for it to sell. For example, if you are an agency, right, you sell websites or you implement websites or whatnot, marketing automation is not going to sell that for you. You need to have like a certain, amount of reputation and provide a good website in the first place in order for you to be able to continue selling websites. If you sell websites, don't implement, but rely on email marketing to sell websites for you, it just doesn't work like that. So to reiterate, 3 principles of automation. Number 1, keep it simple. There's no point in trying to come up with every single edge case or automate super complex things. Often the simplest is the most effective. Number 2, not everything needs to or should be automated. Automate low-level processes and repeatable tasks, but stuff that requires a higher level or has lots of variables. For example, a human being may require a little bit of human intervention every once in a while to provide a good user experience. And number 3, always keep the focus on your product. If you have a good product, it will sell. A lot of good products out there don't need marketing automation in order to sell. Marketing automation simply enables more sales, which is great, but make sure that you're providing a good and solid product first. And that is definitely the most important thing out of those 3. Marketing automation will not sell a bad product. You have to have a good product. So keep your focus on your deliverables always, 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 always. And that brings us to the break.
Oh, that's fantastic, Adrian. I think you've given some great insight there. And I didn't interrupt you once, which is unusual for me, isn't it, Adrian? But I thought every point you were making there, I totally agreed, actually. Actually thinking, people think a tool or something external will solve a fundamental business problem. It can't. Nothing can do that. It can only help. But if there's something really wrong, it actually will probably magnify the problem rather than solve it.
Whenever you invest, so for example, there's a saying, there's a misbelief that money makes like rich people terrible people, or like money absolutely corrupts, or there's a bunch of ways to say that. I prefer to look at it as like money only serves to magnify the person that you are. And I think that's applicable to this as well. Introducing marketing automation will magnify the problems that you already have. So if you have HR problems, introducing marketing automation into HR will magnify that problem. You have to solve the root problem first. So if you have problems in your product, marketing automation will not solve the problems in your product. It will magnify them. because you'll be able to reach more people at a greater scale with a product that isn't working for a minority of people. So make sure that you're solving those root problems first before introducing marketing automation. Marketing automation, at the end of the day, just enables you to do more of the same. That is the purpose of marketing automation.
Well, that's fantastic. We're going to go for our break, folks. When we come back, we're going to be delving in some of the major changes that Adrian announced this week and last week around his own great product, GroundHogg. We'll be back in a few moments, folks. We're coming back. We're going to be discussing GroundHogg. But before we do that, I want to mention another sponsor, another great sponsor. That's Lifter LMS. And what is Lifter? Well, if you're in the e-learning business or thinking of entering it, which is still rapidly growing, I suggest that you should look at WordPress, because it's a bit like renting or owning your house. It's best to build your e-learning business on something that's going to be yours forever. And if you decide to go down the WordPress, one of the best learning management systems plugins that can help you do that is Lifter LMS. They have announced a number of improvements. They announced a video add-on enhancement to their core product, which is fantastic. They've expanded their API, so it makes it extremely friendly for developers. There is amazing things that you can build with Lifter LMS. So if that sounds interesting, go over to Lifter LMS, have a look at what they've got. You can download the core product for free and try it out. It is fantastic. So, Adrian, you announced some major changes to GroundHogg. Some of them surprised me. Would you like to quickly outline what do you think some of the major things that you've announced around your own product?
So before I head into that, I'd just like to preface everything and contextualize everything. So 2 weeks ago, or was it last week? I think it was 2 weeks ago.
Two weeks ago. Yeah.
I came back from Cabo Press, and we actually talked on that show about my trip to Cabo Press. And a lot of the things that I learned from that, I am pulling in and are the result or the resulting of that learning experience are these changes that we're making to our platform. And I have consulted with some very high profile people within the WordPress community, asking their advice, learning from their experiences and the mistakes that they've made, and positioning myself to hopefully avoid the same mistakes, one of those being Lifter LMS and Chris Bradgett, who's a friend of mine, or ours, I guess. I've taken all of that advice and all of the things and the stories that I've heard, and the culmination of that are the changes that we're making. So the first biggest change is we are sunsetting the GroundHogg sending service. So in our attempt to make email easier and provide a simpler process for people to set up and integrate their email, we actually ended up making that process a little bit more difficult than it needed to be. So the way that we were doing it was technologically a little bit more complicated, and thus it was a little bit more complicated for new users who aren't that familiar with the technology to get set up with. So rather than continuing to pour money and resources into it, we've just decided to discontinue it, and instead we are partnering with SendWP. SendWP is an email marketing WordPress-focused company. They're produced by Ninja Forms, or the people behind Ninja Forms, which is Saturday Drive, James
We have
Logs,
to get them on the show, maybe, and
we do.
Yes, in the new year, we do some feelings and see if we can get them on the show, folks.
But I met James at Cabo Press, and he was talking to me about SendWP, and like, this sounds like the ideal solution to my problem, which was people are having a hard time sending email with our service. So instead, we're going to sunset it, and we're going to introduce a partnership with them, which is actually already introduced into the platform, and people are actually really, really enjoying that so far. So I'm happy to see that level of engagement from our users with that platform already. So that's big change number one.
So
we're going to focus.
So we've seen with WP. Is it WP Send or Send
WP?
So I think it's around $9, isn't it? Their basic.
It's exactly $9 a month for unlimited email.
Unlimited.
There's no cap, which makes that's very affordable and great for both the high level and the low level senders of our audience. It does all WordPress email as well. So GroundHogg email, your password reset emails, all of them. So it makes a lot of sense for us to just, move forward with them instead of trying to fix a lot of the problems with the GroundHogg sending service. And it's a happy relationship that I'm super happy about.
That sounds fantastic.
So you go ahead.
No, go on to the next thing, Adrian.
So big change number 2 is we are removing something that we're calling minority features from the free plugin or from GroundHogg. So we have in the past introduced a significant amount of value into the free version. So much value, in fact, that it was devaluing the product as a whole. The way that works is if we provide too much value in our free plugin, there's not necessarily any form of incentive to upgrade to any sort of premium plan, which doesn't allow us to create as much value in return for our customers. And there's a whole lot of problems that are introduced at that level. But by providing so much value, we basically devalued the brand or the plugin and our solutions and our company as a whole. So we are pulling out a lot of minority features. Minority features are people or features which do not benefit the majority of free users. We're pulling those out and placing those into premium extensions.
Add-ons.
Premium add-ons, premium extensions, or being bundled into premium plans, which I'll get to in a second. But essentially, the big ones that are being pulled out are text messaging and SMS. So that is being pulled out and put into its own premium extension because a minority, only maybe 5% of current users are utilizing that feature. So it makes sense to put it in a more niche plugin, which can be bought and paid for, rather than kind of forcing it upon a bunch of people who aren't going to use it. Big one number 2. Elementor was included free in the integration because Elementor just has such massive market penetration. However, again, it's a minority of users who are using it, so it's going to be put as its own extension. This makes sense because the Divi integration, as well as other popular form integrations, since it's just a form integration at the end of the day, all have their own separate plans or separate add-ons. We're pulling Elementor out and making its own separate add-on as well. We are also doing a little bit of tweaking in terms of email and the funnel automation. We're pulling some of the minority benchmarks, so the benchmarks which aren't used as much, as well as the actions which aren't used as much, out of the funnel builder, and as well as we're putting out the drag and drop email editor. So we're introducing a simple email text-based editor that'll send a little bit more plain looking emails, but still supports images and stuff, so it'll get you by. But if you want the advanced, we're calling it now, the advanced email editor, which drags and drops images, spacers, lines, HTML, all of that good stuff, that will be that email builder, as well as the funnel actions and benchmarks that will come out, will all be bundled with something called GroundHogg Pro features, which will essentially bring the free version back up to the place where it was, as well as we're going to use that new add-on as a catch-all for features that we want to add, but should be premium, but don't necessarily deserve their own extension in their own right. So it makes sense for us to kind of just bundle all of that stuff together. You can basically just then, once the changeover happens and the new update of GroundHogg goes out that removes those free features, you'll be able, if you have an all access pass or a premium plan or whatever, then you'll be able to just go download that, drop it back in your site, and basically brings GroundHogg up to where it was before.
Oh, fantastic.
So those are the big changes. Last one is the new pricing. So we're sunsetting a lot of stuff. We're sunsetting the all access pass. So the all access pass has been our de facto pricing model since our inception in August of 2018. And that's kind of just the way we did it, because we actually based a lot of our pricing off of other popular WordPress extensions. At the time, Easy Digital Downloads had an all access pricing model, which is kind of like what we copied it, because we used Easy Digital Downloads to sell all of our stuff. We're like, well, if working for them, it makes sense for us. Later, they ended up actually changing their pricing model to what we're about to adopt, as well as this pricing model that we're about to adopt and introduce is pretty de facto among every other WordPress plugin company that currently operates. So we're moving to a good, better, best pricing model. Essentially, you have your good package, you have a better package, and then you have your best package. Now, based on psychology and split testing and a whole bunch of stuff, basically the way it works out is, if you generalize and pull your averages, 10% of people go for the good package, Okay, so 10% of all of your traffic or all of your customers will go for the good package, which is your lowest level package. You have your better package where the bulk majority, 70% of which go for. So 70% of your traffic will end up going for the good package, the better package. And then 20% will end up going for your best package. Okay, and you price at like, a good price, a more expensive price, and then a premium price, respectively. So that's the model we're moving to, and our value differentiator will actually be the extensions which are included. So in our basic package, or our basic plan rather, we are going to offer the GroundHogg Pro features as well as some of our more low-level extensions integrations. I worked out the value in a blog post or a press release that we actually just pushed out maybe 30 minutes ago. And it works out to like $150 in savings if you were to buy everything separately. So good value, not great value, but good value. And then you move up to better, which again, 70% of the people are going to go to. It's going to include all of our more premium add-ons, as well as all of the form integrations, of which there are many. And its total savings, I think, is $1,100. So that's like really good value, right? It's way better than the previous value. Again, we want the majority of people to go for that middle package. And then we have our premium package, or what we're calling our pro plan. And that's where kind of like the big guns are in. So all of our LMS integrations, our e-commerce integrations, AWS, Twilio, SMS is going in that plan as well. And that is over like $22,000 in savings if you were to buy everything separately. So the best and most premium amount of value is included in that. So that's our new pricing model that we're going with. If you're listening to this and you're like, shit, I bought an All Access Pass, is my pricing going to change? Absolutely not. If you go to the pricing page now and you were to buy right now, there's actually a bar at the top that says pricing changing in 13 days. Lock in your price now because we're just grandfathering everybody who buys it at the moment. So no worries if you previously bought or anything. You're listening to this, you're thinking, I don't want my price to change. It's not, so don't worry. And that about covers it. Those are the big changes that are happening. We want to make sure that GroundHogg remains the de facto marketing automation solution for businesses that use WordPress. And this just seems, based on all of the advice and all of the learning and professional development that we've done recently, this just seems like the best way to go about it. And so far, our audience is seeming to agree based on the office hours as well as responses to the press release and all of that good stuff. So,
well, I think most people understand they want you to be around. They want the company to be able to exist and for you and your team to add more fantastic value and features. And you can only do that if the business is financially stable and progressing.
I don't want to introduce any sort of fear. The business is totally financially stable. We're actually doing really good. It's just a term, and it's about growth at this point. We want to be able to grow a little bit faster so we can bring on new team members and be able to continue to provide an excellent level of support. Because we're growing and we're getting more customers, but we're not able to grow our team at the same rate. So support takes longer. We want to be able to make that process a little bit quicker so that we can continue to build onto our business and create more jobs in our local area and be able to provide the same level of expectation of response and quality support that people have been getting to this point.
That's great. And we'll probably maybe in the bonus content discuss what your hopes, where you see GroundHogg being the end of next year. So Adrian, how can people find out more about you and GroundHogg?
So if you go to groundhogg.io, GroundHogg is spelled with 2 G's at the end. You can find all about our company. You can download the free version of the plugin, which is currently on the WordPress repository. You can also check out maybe with an all access plan, which we're discontinuing at the end of the month. So you can go lock in at that price if you think GroundHogg may be able to solve a lot of your marketing automation needs and enable you to create more sales and more value for your customers. So again, that's groundhogg with 2gs.io.
Right. And if you want to support the show, we've got great guests next week. Hopefully they won't have a personal problem which will stop them from coming on. It doesn't normally happen that regularly, but people have their personal lives and sometimes it does infringe on their business life. So, but if you want to support the show, one of the best ways is giving us a review on iTunes. That's right, iTunes, not Apple. And if you want to see the shows the quickest, it's normally best to go to the WP-Tonic YouTube channel because we tend to post our interviews and our roundtable shows the quickest on the YouTube channel. And subscribing it is a great way of supporting the show as well. We'll be back next week with another great guest and another great discussion, giving you value in the world of WordPress and learning management systems and marketing automation. We'll see you next week, folks. So, like I said in the podcast part of the show, so this time next year, what got any kind of vision where you would like the business to be, and maybe some of the things?
I do, actually.
Yeah.
So if you had asked me this 3 weeks ago, I probably would have said I would like this many users and basically quantify growth based on the number of people actually using the product. The reason that we're not doing that anymore is like I learned through my professional development training that the number of users actually using the product is actually pretty much a vanity metric, right? It looks good, but the actual number of users is not equivalent to, let's say, revenue or the team size. So I actually have some numbers for that. So I'd like, for example, by this time next year, I'd like to have one, if not two, dedicated support reps. Currently, our development team is doing a lot of the support, and I'd like to be able to offload that so we can focus primarily on building great software, and we can have a support team that's really good at implementation, debugging, and all of that stuff, focusing on support, so we can offload that. I'd like to see a content person as well, maybe not a full-time position, but someone who's purely dedicated on creating awesome tutorials, resources, as well as blog articles, training people on how to use our stuff. That is a part that's currently lacking from our system, is we have great software, but not everybody knows how to make the best use of it. So I would want, at this point next year, to at least be halfway through, if not just starting, to start producing excellent training and content resources for our users so that they can make the best use of our software. If I was to include the vanity metric, I'd at least like to see maybe 2,000 users by this time next year. I think we're actually going to crush that. Currently, we're at in between 500 and 600 if you look at the WordPress repository. But again, that's not necessarily reflective of everybody using it everywhere. It's a little bit of a shaky metric. So that's what I'm going to say for now. I'm not going to throw revenue out there just yet. That's more of an internal thing. But we definitely want to be growing our team to at least 2 other people, 1 for content and 1 for support. So that way we can focus on primarily creating great, or at least I can focus on doing more CEO things, and as well as leading the product team and creating great software and great tools so that you can use them to enable to sell more.
And on the feature side, are there any things, not in the near future, but let's say in the foreseeable future, which is a year out, are there any key things which you can't promise when they will appear in any shape or form, but you would like to be able to do?
Oh, there are so many. But big ticket items. One of our staples is just providing integrations with everybody's favorite WordPress plugins. That will continue to happen to a high level degree. So if new plugins come out, or new form plugins, or new e-commerce plugins, we'll continue to develop and build integration for those. So those are usually our biggest ticket items. In terms of features, what we want, what I would like to see is a simplified funnel editing experience. So what we have not been able to accomplish yet is creating a large repository of niche specific funnels. Our funnel builder allows people to export funnels really easily and share them with others, or if you're an agency, you can export funnel A from client A and then go to client B's site and import it there, making it super easy to kind of duplicate your work. What we'd like to do is enable people to start creating these funnels en masse, niche specific. So if like you're a lawn care professional, or you're a dentist, or you have like a specific niche that you operate in, and build up a marketplace and allowing people to be able to, or enable an easier sharing of funnels.
Would you be looking at all at a kind of third-party marketplace where people can actually sell
Yes. So
those?
we actually, it's built actually. It's just a matter of getting people to use it and invest in it and put the time into it. That is what we've been unable to accomplish to date. We want to be able to enable people to share the information that's been worked for them and possibly reap the rewards of being able to share that information. That is where I would like to see that playing a larger part a year from today than it currently it's not really doing anything. Because I think that would be super valuable. For example, you can go buy Elementor templates everywhere. You can go buy them on Code Canyon or ThemeForest or whatever. They have the default templates that you can download and install from Elementor. And I'd like to see an ecosystem kind of like that, but also be able to provide people an easy way to interact with that ecosystem and community. So if I'm a dentist and I know nothing about marketing automation, I kind of just want to plug and play numbers. I can go to the marketplace and I can type in dentist, and I'll be able to find funnel templates related to dentistry, which include pre-written emails and tagging, whatnot. So I can basically hand that over to my, my front desk person and be like, hey, listen, can you take care of this? And they're like, yeah, I got it. Even if they're not WordPress technologically inclined, that's what they would be able to do. So that's where
funny enough, next year, that's what I plan to do with WP-Tonic, is to build some of those in the e-learning area for GroundHogg. But we've got some other plans that I'm discussing with other people that around building some custom themes for Lifter LMS and for LearnDash. And then and maybe some micro plugins, a couple micro plugins. But part of my strategy next year for WP-Tonic is with GroundHogg is to build some specific funnels that would be offered on our hosting plans, which would help people get their marketing up and running for their
real estate agents. A super huge niche that pays a lot of money in terms of marketing automation. You have one, and there are many other like software as a service applications specifically dedicated to real estate agents. And we would like to also be able to enable real estate agents to sell more properties.
You mustn't do that, Adrian, because that would compete with my other company. But but I was thinking it was more the e-learning area, which is my WP-Tonic business.
But the thing is, like, we want you, like people who are specialists in the real estate area, in the real estate community, to take that initiative, so that we want you people, essentially, we want people who have experience in certain niches and have value to share, to be able to share that value through themselves, just using us as kind of the way that that value can be used on the other end, right? Because you might have that knowledge, but it's not always easily transferable. The marketplace or this funnel template sharing thing will be a way for you to be able to share that knowledge easily without too many barriers. And
I totally understand. It's a difficult one, isn't it? Because it's a bit of a chicken and an egg. A marketplace is even stranger than the WordPress community in general. In some ways, it's a real chicken and egg scenario, isn't it? A marketplace.
There is no question about that.
Yeah, but I think it's a great ambition, and it would benefit everybody if you could achieve that by the end of next year. We're going to wrap up the show now, folks. I think it's been a great discussion. We had to do it at the last minute. Like I say, we had a guest that dropped out at the last minute. But I think we achieved to offer some great value. And thank you, Adrian. I really enjoyed the chat. Like I say, listeners and viewers, we'll be back next week, hopefully with a great guest. And we'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye, everybody.